Right now, many people are suffering not because life is difficult, but because they believe every thought and emotion that arises within them. You feel sad, you say, I am sad. You feel fear, you say, I am fearful. No. This is like saying, I am the traffic just because there are cars on the road. You are not your emotions, you are the awareness behind them. Right now, if you sit here and feel joyful, you say, I am happy. If sadness rises, you say, I am sad. If fear grips you, you say, I am fearful. Look at this careful happiness comes, you say, I am happy. Unhappiness comes, you say, I am unhappy. What this means is that your sense of who you are keeps shifting with every passing emotion. You are happy in the morning, frustrated by noon, and perhaps miserable by evening. If someone changes their name 3 times a day, people will call them confused. But when it comes to emotions, you shift identities 100 times a day and call it natural. This is not natural. This is unconscious living. You must understand that what you call feelings are just chemical fluctuations within you. Right now, if you eat something that doesn't agree with you, suddenly irritation will rise. If your body is well balanced, you feel peaceful. If certain chemicals are up, you feel elated. If they drop, you feel depressed. So emotions are not some grand reality or just chemical reactions playing out in your system. But the problem is you have given them an identity. The moment you say, I am this feeling, you have imprisoned yourself in a cycle of endless ups and downs. Look at this carefully. Have you ever experienced the same emotion continuously for 24 hours? No matter how strong the feeling is, whether it is love, anger, or despair, it always changes. If something constantly changes, how can it be you? You are the one who sees the changing emotions, but you are not them. Right now, you might feel insecure, but if a certain situation changes, that insecurity disappears. You might feel broken today, but a different experience tomorrow can make you feel whole again. If you keep shifting with every emotion, then where is your center? If something outside you determines what happens within you, then you are just a puppet being played by the strings of external situations. The biggest mistake people make is believing that their feelings are an absolute truth. Feelings are not truth. They are just a reaction to your perception in the moment. If you see someone smiling at you, you feel happy. If they frown, you feel rejected. What changed? The world remained the same, only your interpretation of it changed. If your emotions can be manipulated so easily, are they really worth basing your life upon? A feeling is just a cloud passing through the vast sky of your consciousness. Some clouds are dark, some are light, some bring rain, and some disappear without a trace. But the sky remains untouched. The problem arises when you start believing that you are the cloud instead of the sky. If you mistake a passing emotion for your fundamental nature, then your experience of life will always be unstable. One moment you are flying high, another moment you are drowning in despair. But if you can step back and see that these feelings are just visitors, not your identity, suddenly they lose their grip over you. Right now, if you say you feel weak, if you say you feel stuck, if you say life is too much to handle, I ask you, who is making this choice? You may argue, no, I am not choosing this. It is just happening to me. But nothing just happens. Every feeling, every emotion that arises within you has your participation. You may not be conscious of it, but you are involved in it. If you are drowning in weakness, it is not because life has made you weak. It is because somewhere you have chosen to sink rather than swim. Weakness is not something handed to you at birth. It is not a curse imposed by existence. It is simply an accumulation of choices, small, unconscious choices that slowly turn into a way of being. Right now, if you wake up every morning and say, I cannot handle this, I am too tired, I am too afraid, what are you doing? You are reinforcing the idea that weakness is your nature. But if you can reinforce weakness, you can just as easily reinforce strength. The only difference is that one is happening unconsciously while the other requires awareness. If you observe yourself closely, you will see that weakness is not in the body, it is in the mind. Look at the people who are physically frail, yet their presence is powerful. And look at those who are strong-bodied, yet they crumble at the slightest difficulty. This means weakness is not a physical limitation, it is a self-created mental barrier. The moment you believe you are weak, your body, your emotions, and even your life situations will align to prove it true. You will hesitate where you need to act. You will shrink where you need to expand. If weakness was truly your nature, you would not resist it. You would be at peace with it. But see how much suffering weakness brings. Every time you hesitate, every time you let fear control you, every time you choose to back away from life, does it feel natural? Number, it feels suffocating. It feels frustrating. This means something within you does not accept weakness. Something within you knows you are capable of more. The only problem is you have repeated the same patterns for so long that you have started believing them to be true. If you closely examine moments of weakness, you will see they always come with an excuse. I am too tired. I am too afraid. What if I fail? Every weak moment has a reason behind it, but the reason is never life. It is always your own unwillingness. Life is simply happening. How you respond to it is your choice. If weakness was imposed on you, you would not have the ability to break out of it. But have you not seen people rise from the worst situations and become unstoppable? Have you not seen those who were once afraid now walk with unshakable confidence? If weakness was permanent, such transformations would not be possible. But they happen every day, everywhere. The question is, will they happen for you? What you call weakness is not something that was handed to you by nature. It is not carved into your bones or written into your destiny. It is a habit you have built, a way of thinking you have reinforced over time. If you look at yourself closely, you will see that every time you have felt weak, every time you have hesitated, every time you have backed away from life, there was a choice, sometimes conscious, sometimes unconscious, but a choice nonetheless. The problem is most people do not see their own participation in their weakness. They believe it is happening to them. I have no control over my emotions, they say. Fear just takes over, they say. I was born like this, they say. But tell me, if weakness was truly a permanent state, why does it fluctuate? One day you feel capable. The next day you feel powerless. One moment you are determined. The next you are full of doubt. If weakness was your nature, it would be constant, but it is not. It comes and goes based on how you think, how you act, and what you allow within yourself. If you examine closely, weakness is always accompanied by justification. It never comes alone. It comes with a story. I cannot do this because I'm too tired. I cannot change because my past has been difficult. I cannot push forward because I might fail. The moment you attach a reason to your weakness, you make it real. The moment you defend it, you make it stronger. The more you repeat these justifications, the more they become your reality. Have you seen people who have gone through immense hardship yet stand tall, unshaken? Have you seen those who have every reason to complain, every reason to give up, yet they walk with fire in their eyes? And have you also seen those who crumble at the smallest difficulty, those who are defeated before the battle even begins? It is not because life has been kinder to one and cruel to another. It is because one person chooses to stand while another chooses to fall. Weakness is seductive. It gives you an escape. It allows you to say, I am not responsible. It allows you to avoid discomfort. It gives you an excuse to not try, to not risk, to not step forward. This is why so many people choose it without realizing, because to choose strength means effort. It means facing fear without bowing down to it. It means breaking patterns that have kept you comfortable. It means stepping into the unknown where there are no guarantees, no safety nets. Right now, if you are given the option to do something difficult, to break a cycle, to push yourself beyond your limits, what is the first thought that comes? Is it excitement or is it hesitation? If hesitation comes, ask yourself who put it there. Were you born hesitant or did you learn it over time? Did life make you weak or did you accept weakness as your reality? The moment you start questioning, the illusion of helplessness begins to crack. If you truly look at weakness, you will see it is a choice made repeatedly. It is not about physical strength, nor is it about intelligence or talent. It is about what you allow within yourself. If you allow doubt to grow, it will take over. If you allow fear to dictate your actions, it will rule you. If you allow hesitation to control your decisions, it will paralyze you. Every moment you indulge in weakness, you strengthen its hold. But the same way you built weakness, you can also dismantle it. The only difference is one happened without awareness, while the other requires. Right now, if you close your eyes and observe your mind, you will see that it is constantly running thought after thought, memory after memory, imagination upon imagination. It never stops. It is like an endless movie playing within you, a drama that keeps shifting between past, future, and 1,000 possible versions of reality. But tell me, are you directing this drama or is it happening on its own? Most people are not in charge of their own mind. It just takes them wherever it wants, like a wild horse dragging its rider in every direction. Most of the suffering people go through is not because of life, it is because of the unnecessary drama created in their minds. If you sit here and simply exist, nothing is wrong. But the moment your mind starts, problems appear. What if I fail? What if they don't like me? What if something goes wrong? Notice this, nothing has actually happened, yet you are suffering as if it has. This is the power of your mind drama. It makes you live situations that do not exist, and in doing so, it drains your energy, poisons your peace, and keeps you trapped in an illusion. If you pay attention, you will see that most of the thoughts in your mind are either about what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. Very few thoughts are about what is happening right now. This means most people are not living in reality. They are living in memories and projections. Something small happens, and the mind turns it into a catastrophe. Someone looks at you the wrong way, and the mind starts writing a full story. They don't respect me. They must be talking behind my back. Maybe I did something wrong. One small incident, and the mind turns it into a lifelong wound. Understand this, your mind is not your enemy, but if you do not know how to handle it, it will become one. It has a simple function: to think, to imagine, to create possibilities. But most people do not use their minds consciously. They are used by their minds. This is the difference. If you are holding a knife, it is just a tool. You can use it to cut fruit, or you can cut yourself, depends on how you hold it. The mind is the same. If you know how to use it, it is a tremendous tool. If you do not, it will make your life miserable. Look at the way people live. They have everything they need: food, shelter, family, but still, they are restless, anxious, unhappy. Why? Because their mind does not let them be. They are constantly haunted by their own thoughts. Even when they are sitting quietly, they are not truly at peace. The mind is replaying old conversations, predicting future disasters, creating conflicts that do not exist. The real suffering is not in the world, it is in the mental noise that people do not know how to turn off. Right now, if a stranger insults you, what happens? Your mind will keep repeating their words for days. You will analyze it from every angle, you will feel hurt, you will feel angry, and you will react in your imagination 1,000 times. But tell me, where is the real suffering coming from? The stranger spoke just once. It was your mind that repeated it endlessly. It was your mind that kept the wound open. Life gave you one thorn, but you sat and pressed it deeper. This is what it means to be trapped in mind drama. The biggest mistake people make is believing that every thought they have is important. But tell me, if your thoughts were truly valuable, would they not bring clarity? Would they not bring peace? Look at what most of your thoughts do. They confuse you, they create doubt, they make you hesitant, they make you miserable. This means the majority of your thoughts are just mental clutter, not intelligence. But if you do not see this, if you do not learn to step back and observe, you will be lost in the mess thinking it is real. If you cannot put a gap between yourself and your thoughts, you will always be controlled by them. Right now, your mind says something and you believe it immediately. It tells you, I am not good enough, and you say, yes, that is true. It tells you, I will fail, and you say, yes, I probably will. But who is speaking and who is listening? If you are hearing the thought, it means you are separate from it. If you were the thought, you would not be able to observe it. The very fact that you can see your thoughts means you are not them. But people do not take even a moment to examine this. They react instantly. Every thought becomes a command. Every emotion becomes their reality. This is why they suffer unnecessarily. Life is happening one way, but the mind is running its own endless movie. If you do not learn to step back from this, you will never experience life as it is. You will only experience your own projections. And in those projections, suffering, fear, and anxiety will always dominate. Right now, if you look at people who are struggling, who feel weak, who feel lost in life, you will see that their suffering is not because of what is happening. If you truly pay attention, you will see that what you call strength is not about muscles, not about how much you can lift, not even about how much you can endure physically. Strength is about how clearly you see life. A person who has clarity does not hesitate, does not fear, does not crumble under pressure. But a person who lacks awareness is always at the mercy of their own mind, their own emotions, and the situations around them. They are constantly being thrown around by life, and they wonder why they feel weak. Look at how most people live, always caught up in their thoughts, lost in their emotions, constantly reacting to whatever happens around them. If someone says something negative, they feel hurt. If a situation does not go as planned, they feel defeated. If something unexpected happens, they feel overwhelmed. But tell me, is this strength? If you can be shaken by every small thing, if your peace can be disturbed by every passing event, where is your control over life? Strength is not about avoiding difficulties. It is about being aware enough that no difficulty can shake you. Imagine you are walking through a dense forest at night with no light. Every sound, every movement in the darkness makes you afraid. You hesitate with every step because you cannot see clearly. But if you had a bright lamp, the same forest would not seem threatening. You would walk with confidence, knowing exactly where you are going. This is the difference between a person with awareness and a person without it. When you are not aware, life seems uncertain, confusing, and full of fear. When awareness comes, suddenly everything becomes clear and fear disappears. Strength does not come from forcing yourself to be tough. It does not come from pretending you have no emotions. It comes from knowing that whatever happens, you will see it clearly. And because you see it clearly, you will respond with intelligence rather than react with fear. Right now, if someone insults you, what happens? If you are unaware, their words will keep running in your head for days. You will feel hurt, you will feel angry, you will react in your imagination 1,000 times. But if you are aware, you simply see it for what it is, just sounds coming out of someone's mouth. They mean nothing unless you attach meaning to them. This is where real strength begins. When you can see your thoughts without getting lost in them, when you can observe your emotions without becoming them, when you can face life's challenges without letting them consume you, that is when you become truly powerful. Right now, people think strength means dominating others, proving something to the world, showing that you are fearless. But strength is not about how the world sees you. It is about how clearly you see yourself. A person who is truly strong does not need to prove anything to anyone. They simply know, they simply see, and because of that clarity, they move through life with ease. If you look at the strongest people in history, those who have truly made a difference, you will see that their power did not come from external force. It came from an unshakable clarity and awareness that could not be disturbed. Whether people praised them or criticized them, whether life was easy or difficult, whether the world accepted them or rejected them, they remained steady. Because their strength was not based on circumstances, it was rooted in their awareness. Most people are searching for strength outside themselves. They think if they have more money, more power, more support from others, they will feel strong. But all of these things can be taken away in an instant. If your strength depends on something external, it is not strength, it is just temporary security. Real strength is something that nothing and no one can take away, because it is not dependent on anything outside of you. It comes only when you have seen yourself deeply, when you have become aware of what is happening within you, and when you are no longer fooled by your own thoughts and emotions. A person who is aware cannot be manipulated by their fears. They cannot be broken by their own mind. They do not need external validation to feel complete. They simply know who they are, and because they know, nothing can shake them. That is real strength. Right now, most people think the way to deal with negativity, fear, anger, or any unwanted emotion is to suppress it, push it down, to pretend it is not there, to force themselves to act as if everything is fine. But suppression is not transformation. It is simply postponing the problem. What you suppress does not disappear. It only goes deeper into your system, waiting for the right moment to explode. Look at how people handle their emotions. When anger arises, they force a smile and say, "No, I am not angry." When fear arises, they pretend to be strong, even though their entire body is trembling. When sadness comes, they distract themselves with entertainment, food, or socializing. But tell me, does this truly free them from these emotions? Or are these emotions still lurking beneath the surface, waiting for a small trigger to take over? You cannot fight what is within you by closing your eyes to it. You cannot overcome fear by denying its existence. You cannot become peaceful by pretending you are not disturbed. Suppression is like holding a ball underwater. The harder you push it down, the stronger it will rise when you lose control. This is why so many people suddenly break down after years of suppressing their emotions. One small event, one small incident, and everything they have been holding in bursts out in ways they cannot control. Real transformation does not happen through suppression. It happens through awareness. If you want to overcome something, you must first have the courage to see it as it is. If anger arises, do not suppress, observe it. Do not identify with it, do not act on it, but simply see it. If fear arises, do not deny it, watch it without judgment. The moment you bring awareness to something, it starts losing its grip over you. But the moment you suppress it, you give it more power in the shadows of your unconscious. Most people do not want to deal with what is within them because it is uncomfortable. It is easier to pretend that negativity does not exist than to face it, but transformation does not happen through comfort. It happens when you are willing to go through the fire of awareness, when you are willing to see your weaknesses, your fears, your limitations, not with judgment, but with clarity. Only when you see something clearly do you have the ability to change it. Right now, if you have fear, instead of suppressing it, ask yourself, what is this fear made of? Is it real or is it just a thought playing in your head? If you are angry, instead of bottling it up, look at it. Where is this anger coming from? Is it because someone else is truly in control of you? Or is it because you have given them control by reacting? If you are sad, instead of drowning in distractions, sit with it. What is this sadness trying to tell you? Every emotion, every feeling is energy, and energy can either be turned into poison or into power. The choice is yours. Suppression is a strategy of avoidance. People suppress because they do not want to deal with reality. But life does not work that way. Whatever you suppress today will return tomorrow in another form. If you suppress anger, it will come back as frustration. If you suppress fear, it will come back as anxiety. If you suppress sadness, it will come back as numbness. Look at people who have suppressed too much. They are neither happy nor sad. They are just indifferent. They have numbed themselves to avoid pain. But in doing so, they have also blocked their ability to experience real joy. Suppression does not free you from your emotions. It only buries them deeper. True transformation happens when you take everything that arises within you and use it consciously. If anger arises, use that energy to take action, to create, to move forward, instead of letting it consume you. If fear arises, use it to bring awareness to where you are stuck, to see what is limiting you instead of letting it paralyze you. If sadness arises, use it to reflect, to grow, to deepen your understanding of life instead of drowning in it. If you do not transform your emotions, they will control you from the shadows. The moment you stop suppressing and start observing, you will see that every emotion is just a passing wave. It only becomes a problem when you try to fight it or hold on to it. But when you allow yourself to experience it with awareness without resistance, it will dissolve, and in its place, you will find clarity, freedom, and strength. Right now, most people live like slaves to their emotions. If they feel motivated, they take action. If they feel lazy, they do nothing. If they are excited, they work hard. If they are bored, they quit. Their entire life is dictated by fleeting emotions that come and go like the wind. Tell me, can such a person ever build anything strong and lasting? If the foundation of your actions is emotion, then your life will always be unstable. Look at your own life and see how many things have you started with excitement only to abandon them when the excitement faded? How many times have you told yourself, I will change, only to give up the moment it became uncomfortable? This is what happens when you let emotions lead your life. Emotions are like waves in the ocean. One moment they are high, the next moment they disappear. If your actions depend on these waves, you will never have direction. You will never have control. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. It means moving forward even when your emotions tell you to stop. It means getting up and taking action even when every part of you wants to be lazy, hesitant, or afraid. Right now, if you examine the strongest, most successful people in any field, you will see one thing in common: they do not rely on emotion to take action. They rely on discipline. Look at a soldier. He does not fight only when he feels strong. He fights because he has trained himself to act beyond his emotions. Look at an athlete. He does not practice only when he feels motivated. He practices every single day because he knows discipline, not emotion, will determine his success. Look at an artist, a musician, a scientist. Do you think they create only when they feel inspired? They create every day because they have trained themselves to act, whether inspiration is there or not. Most people wait to feel like it before they do something. I will start exercising when I feel motivated. I will work hard when I feel passionate. I will improve my life when I feel ready. But life does not work that way. If you wait for emotions to be perfect before you act, you will spend your entire life waiting. Nothing great has ever been built on temporary feelings. Everything worthwhile, strength, wisdom, success, even peace comes from discipline. Right now, look at the areas of your life where you feel stuck. Is it because you are truly incapable, or is it because you are letting your emotions decide your actions? If you cannot wake up early, is it because your body cannot handle it, or is it because you do not feel like it? If you cannot stick to a goal, is it because it is impossible, or is it because you allow boredom and frustration to make you quit? If you cannot take a step forward in life, is it because you are trapped, or is it because fear is whispering in your ear and you are listening? Discipline is freedom. Most people think discipline is a burden, a restriction, something that takes away enjoyment from life. But tell me, what kind of life is more painful on, where you have the discipline to create the future you want, or one where you are a slave to your emotions, never achieving anything, constantly feeling regret? True suffering does not come from discipline. It comes from the lack of it. It comes from looking back and realizing you wasted years of your life waiting for the right emotion to arrive. When you choose discipline, you take back control. You are no longer a puppet pulled by your emotions. You are no longer waiting for motivation, inspiration, or excitement. You simply do what needs to be done. Whether you feel like it or not becomes irrelevant. And when this happens, life begins to move in your favor. Because for the first time, you are not moving in random directions. You are moving with purpose.